All right, we're back with the C1x Report. It's the LWS Open at Idlewild, round 2, moving day. Turns out that Wi-Fi in my car outside the hotel is actually better than the Wi-Fi in it. So I was expecting to have to do this later, but it looks like we're good right now. So we're going to jump into round 2. As always on moving day, I'm going to go enter in the round of whoever's in last cash. It's always fun to take a look at the rounds of the people who aren't always having their best day. Get some stats that aren't just 100% C1X putting, 100% fairway hits, and 1070 rated rounds. So we'll continue that trend. We'll go do last cash, and then I'll be back probably in a few days with the final round for the winner. So let's go take a peek at the scores. I will have to check my capture every once in a while just to make sure that I'm still recording. But looks like last cash right now we have Alden Harris. Did not have his best round. Put together a really good round 1. That's a bummer. Sorry, Alden, that I'm not covering your first round. Even par round 2. We already have Idlewild entered into the app from round 1. So let's open up Alden's round here. Slide it over just a little bit. And then we'll get the app pulled up, and we should be good to go now. So let's hit start round. We'll go all the way over to Idlewild at the very end. There we go. Hit confirm. Let's start putting this round in the app. So hole 1, drive in the fairway. Looks like second shot went into C2. Missed the C2 putt, but had a 6-foot comebacker for par. Hole 2, a couple shots in the fairway, up shot to 6 feet, in for par. Hole 3, drive in the fairway, up shot to 16 feet. Good first putt for birdie. Hole 4, drive in the fairway, up shot somewhere into circle 2. Missed that, but hit the 6-foot comebacker for the par. Hole 5, looks like drive in the fairway, up shot into C1 somewhere. And then missed the C1 putt for par. Had the tap in for the bogey. Nope. All right, hole 7. Drive in the fairway. Looks like second shot in the rough somewhere. And then an up shot to 6 feet for the par. Hole 8. Drive in the fairway. Looks like up shot into circle 2. Missed the circle 2 putt, landed at 16 feet, made the comebacker for par. I'm sure Alden at this point felt like he was having a really slow round. He shot 10 under round 1, so being even through 8, not a good feeling, and it is only going to continue here. Into circle 2 on hole 9 off the tee. 6-foot comebacker for par. Or nope, I did that on hole 8, sorry. Undo. Let's go back to the tee. All right, 8, drive in the fairway, up shot into circle 2. Had the 16-foot comebacker for par. Here we go. Hole 9, drive into circle 2, 6-foot comebacker for par. Hole 10, drive in circle 2, 6-foot comebacker for par. Hole 11, first park job of the day. Always feels good. Hole 13, in the rough off the tee. And then looks like in the fairway, up shot to 16 feet, was able to scramble for the par. Hole 13, in the rough off the tee. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong holes here. I just put 13 in for 12. All right, back to 12. All right, so hole 12. Hit the fairway, then through into the rough, then through to circle 2, missed the circle 2 putt for par, hit the 16-footer for the bogey. There we go. 13 in the rough, fairway, up shot to 16 feet for the par. Hole 14, penalty off the tee. We'll assume throwing from the fairway. So throwing 3 through into circle 1. That car alarm has been going off. I apologize. Hopefully it's not as loud for you guys as it is for me. There we go. Missed the C1 putt for par, but hit the 16-footer for the bogey. Hole 15, drive into the rough, into the fairway, upshot into circle 2, missed the circle 2 putt for par, hit the 16-footer for the bogey. Make sure we're still rolling here. Looks like we are. Hole 16, we've got a couple shots into the fairway, upshot to 16 feet, in the basket for the birdie. Hole 17, drive to 16 feet. It's a good fight to get back to even after that rough stretch of holes. 18 in the rough off the tee, but was able to scramble, tap in 6-footer for the par. So definitely not the round that Alden was looking for, I'm sure. I know he's a better player than that, but it happens. Everyone has bad days, and at Idlewild, if you have a stretch where you're really struggling to get off the tee, all of a sudden it does become a pretty tough course. So we'll hit finish round, and we can take a look at these stats now. So 82% C1x putting. It's not great. It's not awful, though. Couldn't connect from C2, which definitely hurt a little bit. I think driving was really probably the issue here. Only in circle 1 for regulation, 22% of the holes. It's going to be tough to get birdies when you're just not getting into circle 1 that much, and missed some C1x, some C2 putts for par. MA1 plus, kind of not the best round grade, but one that I'm sure Alden wouldn't disagree with. I bet I'm sure that's one of the worst rounds he's had in a while. Nothing too substantial here. It was really this stretch 12 through 15, 3 over through that stretch of 4 holes that kind of threw the round off the rails. After hole 11, he was 1 under. If this stretch goes a little bit differently, he gets to 4 or 5 down. The round doesn't feel great, but probably feels quite a bit better. But 3 over through 4 really tanked him. At that point, just fighting to get back to par. Nothing crazy on these stats. A lot of throws versus putts. Easy to do at Idlewild. It's pretty high par course in terms of just what the total par is for all the holes. 50% scrambles, 25% bounce back rate, which means that you have to take at least 4 bogeys to get to that point. It's always a bummer. Only followed one of them up with a birdie. Only 40% birdie conversion rate in C2, which means that of all the holes that he got in C2 in regulation on, he only got birdie on those holes 40% of the time. Connected for birdie on all of his C1 in regulation stats, which definitely needed with a not the best driving day. No 3 putts. Missed some C1 putts, which doesn't feel good, but at least no 3 putts for the round. Only 1 penalty stroke. Putting kind of tells a story here. Pretty even score, front 9, back 9. Only 2 birdies in a row, only 6 holes in a row bogey free. Only 4 C1X made putts in a row. Let's restart that there. There we go. So definitely not the best round, but I know that Alden is a good player, especially in the woods. I would not be surprised to see him well above that cash line round 3. So let's grab our screenshot here. Let's go put together our graphics. Hopefully the internet's better, right? About to find out. All right, Alden Harris. This was round 2 of the LWS Open at Idlewild. That was an even par 68. 68. And that was, 991 rated? It's always, even pros have bad days, and it's nice to see the human side of it a little bit, show that the course is hard. Just watching a bunch of guys put up 12s, 13 downs. It's easy to think that, Idlewild's an easy course, but it absolutely has some teeth if you're not getting clean off the tee. So 82% C1X putting. I am going to keep that stat in there. I typically don't exclude C1X putting. It's the namesake of the app. You got to use it. I'm going to throw C1 in regulation, just because I think that's probably the most telling driving stat of the day. And that was 22%. And then last stat here. Let's go with I like to be kind of nice on these last cash rounds just because I'm always catching people at not their best. I'll throw the fairway hit up there. 72%. Can make that nice and easy. I don't even have to change the graphic there. All right, so as always, this is going to go up on the C1x Instagram account. And then let's go make the pro breakdown here. We've got Alden Harris. This is round 2. And I'm going to give him a rating of bye. As always, these ratings are... Oh. I'm going to have to remake it here. These I give these ratings based on how I think they're going to do in the next round relative to how they performed in this one. And I do think Alden's going to come back strong. I'd be surprised if he didn't. So we're going to give him a rating of bye. Let's go grab the C1x round grade. That was a 7.05. With not the worst putting stats, not the worst driving stats, so still not a terrible rating. Definitely not the best, but you know what happens. So, all right. So as always, this is going to go up as the thumbnail for the video, and then this will be live on the C1x social accounts relatively soon. Internet is still not incredible, and I will be playing in my own tournament this afternoon, and then driving a few hours. So these may not go up until later tonight, and it will be a few days before I upload the final round, just so I can watch the coverage, not spoil the result for myself. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for the C1x report of round 2 at the LWS Open at Idlewild. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.